Hi, everybody. Dr. Jerry Law here, or as I'm known in the recovery community, J Law. Hey, the topic today is change. You know, change can be an exciting thing in our lives, but it can also be a very frightening thing. I remember as a child, change was exciting. Thinking about moving on from the second grade to the third grade, or maybe thinking about having the opportunity as I got a little bit older to ride a particular ride at the state fair that I couldn't ride before. Change was embraced. But like many of us, as I became an adult, change became much more difficult. And that's the way it seems to be for many of us. But you know, some really bright individuals have been studying the topic of change for many, many years. Prochaska, DiClemente, and Norcross wrote the book Changing for Good. And it's all about recognizing that people who are truly successful in implementing changes in their lives very seldom just wake up one day and ta-da, miraculously the change is in place. Rather, people who are successful in change tend to work their way through a series of stages. And they've identified these and named them the stages of change. The first being pre-contemplation, or before even thinking about it. It's the stage where we're kind of stuck, where we're really not even thinking about change. But then one day we may decide, maybe I ought to think about this. So we move into contemplation, like thinking about change. That's followed by a stage called preparation, a planning stage. Then we move into action. And finally, maintenance, maintaining the change that we have put in place. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't always agree with that approach. What I would like is to just wake up one day, like I said before, and ta-da, the change is in place. But I have discovered that when I try that, I always seem to slip back into those old patterns. But when I allow myself to work my way through those stages and really implement an effective plan for change, I have a much better chance of change in the long term. You know, here's an example from my own life. I remember several years ago deciding that I would like to learn how to run 10Ks. Only thing is, I didn't want to learn, I just wanted to do it. So I woke up one morning and I strapped on a clunky pair of tennis shoes that I owned, and I went out and ran, I don't know, maybe a mile, maybe a mile and a half. And the next day, I literally couldn't get out of bed. I was in such pain. So I just gave up. But about a year later, I decided once again to give that a try. Only this time, I went to a friend of mine who is a successful 10K runner, and I asked an important question. How do you do this? And he got me a book. The title of the book was How to Run Your First 10K. You know, page 1, make sure you have good shoes on. Page 2, only run around the block the first day. In other words, build a plan, work the plan, and then maintain. And it was only about 6 months later that I did, in fact, successfully complete my first 10K. So if you're thinking about change from whatever may be troubling you, I encourage you to do a little bit of research on the stages of change, learning how to work your way through these stages and implement that successful change that you'd like to have in your life.